Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? Welcome back. So today we got another one of those videos that I think anyone can do, and it will really improve the look of your truck and provide a few other benefits. So anyway, stay tuned. Okay, so check it out. Can you tell the difference with the truck, with the looks? Anyways, what we're doing today is we're doing tint. So tint is something that a lot of people kind of shy away from, including me. But I think that the way that we're gonna do this will make it really easy. And basically what makes this easy is actually, let me show you. Okay, so basically this is why I think that installing tint can be a little bit easier than you might think it is. And what I'm talking about is I actually got a kit off of Amazon for really cheap, well, pretty cheap, of pre-cut tint for the truck. So all you have to worry about is actually just installing it and then actually cutting out the shape, which to me sometimes is one of the hardest parts, actually getting the shape cut out right and getting all that stuff right. Now, the actual tint that I got is actually not that high of quality, and that's for a reason that I'll talk about later. But it was pretty cheap, and I think it'll give me great practice installing it. Like I said, this tint I believe is 5%, but on the actual truck it doesn't look that dark. So as you can see, you can still pretty easily see through that, and that might actually be still because not all the tint is in it, because this is a single cab and there's a lot of light getting into it. And like I said, I bought pretty cheap tint for a reason. I really wanted to tint this truck, but I could have gone, with like ceramic tint, really high-end tint. That could have cost me, probably like close to $100. But my plans for this truck is that eventually I'm gonna start, after I'm done kind of, doing the whole exterior and suspension and all that stuff, the last thing that I'm gonna be doing to this truck is the actual interior to it. It's gonna get completely redone. I want to get all new windows and all that stuff, because these ones are, I don't know if you can tell, but they're pretty scratched, especially the driver's side. So once we do that, like I said, it's gonna get all new windows, and they're gonna get professionally tinted with nice good quality tint. So for now this will do. And there's two reasons why I want it. One, it looks way better with tint. Like, just looking at that, it looks way better with tint on than without any. So I mean, the window's down, but you get the idea. And the second reason why I want to do this is because I do live in Arizona, and well, pretty much anywhere you live during the summer, if it gets hot, it's gonna get really hot inside of your truck. And tint helps kind of keep the temperature down a little bit. So if you put tint all around your truck and maybe use some sunshades on the front windshield, it should help keep the temperatures inside your truck a little bit lower, which can also help all of your plastics, leathers from cracking. It'll help prolong the life of your the interior of your truck. And like I said, once I do the interior, it's gonna be getting at least 5% tint all the way around, and like 50% on the windshield. The windshield is something that I would not tackle, not on my own, because that's a big job. And as well with the rear window, one of the reasons why I really like these windows is because I love the window in the back that you can open it. Plus having those 4 individual windows makes it super easy to tint it, because instead of having one really big strip of tint that you have to put on, you have 4 smaller strips, chunks, parts, pieces that are way easier to put on than that really big one. Now I believe though, if you have the big window, I think they might split it, which I'm not sure if I like it or not. But like I said, I don't have that problem. So anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get this thing pulled into the garage, get out of the sun, and we'll start with the actual install of the tint. So let's go ahead and do that. So before we get started, I want to go over a few tools that you'll need to install tint that will make it a little bit easier on you. And most of these things, you can find them at your local auto parts store, AutoZone, O'Reilly's, whatever you have local. But I will also leave a few links down below to some kits that you can buy off of Amazon that will have pretty much everything you need to install Tint. Now the first thing that you need is some sort of squeegee so you can actually apply the tint. This kind is my favorite, it's just a rubber squeegee. You'll also need something that's a little bit smaller, skinnier, which will really help to get into kind of like the weather seals, to be able to really push the tint all the way in into, you know, kind of like these tighter spots. So you can use something like this, or you can also use a credit card. Another thing that you need is some sort of blade or scraper, or both, which is what I have. I have a scraper and I have a blade from a utility knife or like a box cutter. And this is so you can kind of really clean your windows and also cut the tint if you would need to. So either one of these works, or both. You will also need a water sprayer with a water and soap mixture. This is just dish soap that I used, and that helps to apply the tint, and it also kind of works as a lubricant to not actually scratch the film while you're applying it. And you will also need a glass cleaner. This is my favorite kind to use. It's the one that foams up. I've actually been using this kind since I was in high school. I like it more than a Windex or, you know, any of that stuff, but if you have Windex at hand, you can use that. Works just as fine. And lastly, you'll also need some microfiber towels. Okay, so like I said, very basic tools. You might actually already have a lot of these at your house, or you can just run to AutoZone and buy them. Or like I said, I'll leave a link down below to kits that you can buy that already have most of the stuff included. So now we're gonna go ahead with the first few steps, which are gonna be actually cleaning your window. So the most important part to your job is gonna be prep, and there's gonna be a few steps that we gotta follow in order to get it right. And the first thing is gonna be doing your first cleaning of the actual window. So we're gonna go ahead and grab our glass cleaner, spray it, make sure that it soaks pretty good, clean it, and then we'll move on to the next step. And I'm pretty much out, so I'm gonna have to go probably buy some or get some Windex from inside the house. But anyways, we're gonna clean the whole window pretty good. Well, actually really good. Make sure we get all the loose dirt and, you know, anything else that might be stuck on here off. One thing that I like to do is grab one of my squeegees and take my rag all the way in to all of these cracks and make sure you get everything nice and clean. You want to make sure that all this is really, really clean. And then one more thing that I like doing is rolling the window a little bit down and actually getting this edge that's in the actual door frame. Okay, and I think that's pretty good for the first step. So now what we're gonna do is grab our blade or our scraper, and we're gonna go ahead and run it through the entire window to make sure you get everything that might be stuck to it off. And I know that this seems kind of like counterintuitive because you think you might scratch it, which you might. So be careful to not cut yourself or scratch the actual window. I also like to scrape this a little bit to try and bring it down as much as I can. That will also make your tint look pretty bad. And now you'll be able to kind of like hear and feel kind of when you're going through a spot that might have a lot of stuff. So make sure you get all of that pretty good. And now, like I said, for a good tint job, it just takes a lot of patience and to be able to make sure you get everything good. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrape this whole window for a little while, make sure that I get everything, and then I'll come back with the next step. Okay, so after you've have scraped your window pretty good, we're gonna go ahead and clean it one more time to get everything that you might have broken loose with the scraper, and just make sure that it's super, super clean before we actually get started. Now this is also a great time for me to tell you that I'm obviously not a professional installer. I don't do tint for a living. I've only done it a few times, but I'm just trying to show you that, you know, there's projects that, you know, anyone can do. You know, it'll save you some money, and it's actually fun. You know, I like it. And if any of you are actual, you know, professional installers, leave any tips down in the comments for the rest of us. So I think that's pretty clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab the tint that goes on this side. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here we have our tint, and just like we have a left and a right side on the truck, there's going to be a left and a right to your tint. But you'll see that there is a clear side and the actual tint. So the side that's the actual tint is the one that's gonna go towards your window. And it's basically gonna look like a mirror image of your actual window. So the side that's kind of like in between is the actual sticky side. So this side is gonna go towards your window. So like I said, make sure that you don't mix these up. Because I actually already did that once on the other side. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and install this. So the way we're gonna do this is we're gonna grab our soapy water and just spray the whole window. Make sure you get it nice and saturated. Also, one thing that I like doing is I like starting with the top edge. So roll your window down a little bit. Make sure you get all that nice and wet. Then we're gonna grab our tint and separate it from the rest of the film. So just grab a corner, and as you're peeling it back, make sure you spray it so that it doesn't stick to itself. There we go. So we're gonna place this other part inside the truck wherever it's safe, because it also has the wing window still in it. Okay, so one more time, we're gonna spray everything with water, with soapy water. Make sure that everything is nice and covered in it. And we're gonna do our window one more time. And that's just really gonna help you place the actual film on the window. Okay, so this install just turned into a total and absolute fail, and I'll show you why here in a little bit. But I'm still gonna show you how to install this because I'm already started. I already have the other side, and we might as well do this. So let's go. So after you have your top edge in place where you like it, where you want it, just make sure that all this whole top edge is nice and square all the way to your corners, and that should help you align the rest of the film. So now once you have that edge, take your soapy water and spray it all. Make sure it's nice and wet. You can also go ahead and clean off the bottom of your door. Then I like grabbing my rubber squeegee and going all the way up and basically making a cross. Making all the way to, going all the way to the side, tucking the tint all the way into the door frame, go all the way to the other side. Now at this point, it should be pretty well adhered to the actual window. So you're gonna go ahead and go up and down and squeegee the rest of the water that was left in the between the film and the window. Get your edge nice and clean. Make sure that it's nice and stuck all the way, because here in a little bit we're gonna roll our window up to do our bottom side. Okay, so that should be pretty good. I'm gonna give it a few more squirts of water just to make sure that it slides nice and good under the door, and kind of push it back a little bit just so that that edge doesn't roll back. So now the bottom, and what I like doing is grabbing your credit card or one of your skinny squeegees, lift up the film a little bit just to expose the actual trim, and pull it back a little bit. I'm actually gonna grab one of my other squeegees. Again, make sure that the whole film is nice and wet so you don't scratch it. So what we're gonna do is start from the top and tuck it in behind the weather stripping. And this trick works pretty good. A lot of people like to pull the actual door panel off. I don't think that's necessary when you do it this way, but it can make it easier. That's another option you have, is to actually pull the door panel off. But I think that's more work than you really need to do. Now at this point, all you gotta do is just go all the way around. Make sure that you get all the water all the way out. Now I don't push too hard on the film because, like I said, this is really cheap film, and if you push really hard on it, you're gonna scratch it right away like it's nothing. So just take your time, go all the way around, and if you did everything right, if you cleaned everything like you were supposed to, you shouldn't really get any bubbles in it. And if you do, they should be able to work themselves out. You should be able to work them out pretty easily. Now if it starts drying, just get everything nice and wet again. Again, just so it doesn't get all scratched up on you. Another thing that I like doing is wrapping my actual squeegee in one of the microfiber towels. That'll also allow you to scratch, to push a little bit harder without scratching your film. And this window's actually turning out really, really well. We don't really have a lot of bubbles anywhere on the sides. Because trust me, once you start getting bubbles, they're one of the hardest things to get out. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to tell or if it'll come back. We have a little bubble coming out right here. So what I like doing is spraying it with a little bit of soapy water, taking your squeegee, and press firmly and slowly all the way down until you know that you've driven it all the way past where the film is. And just hold it there for a few seconds. And that should be able to get it. Looks pretty good. This actually turned out really good, except for one thing that I'm gonna show you right now. And I mean, a few of these things, I'll admit, it was my fault. I didn't do that great of a job installing it. You know, you might have seen when I was taking them apart. I was trying to show you, and it got a bit creased. But one was actually because of the film, or I think it's because of the film or the way that it was cut. So I don't know, you probably won't be able to tell, but there is a little crease right here and another one right there. So basically what those are like cracks in the film, and that won't go away. It'll always look like that, and it'll just basically be in imperfection. And like I said, that was one, my fault, and two, it's just because it's cheap film. Now the major thing is this: when I was peeling it off, this corner over here wasn't cut all the way, so this was actually stuck to the rest of the sheet, and when I pulled it off, I didn't realize that I had kind of tore this off. So I was able to put it back on, and as you can see, it's not that huge of a deal because you can't really tell that it's there unless, you know, like you really look for it. But, you know, like I said, it is there, and it does bother me. But like I said, this is just cheap film. It's just a temporary thing. Well, it'll probably be here for like a year, to be honest with you. But it will be taken off with the whole window and getting replaced with brand new windows and brand new tints. But yeah, that's basically, you know, everything there is to installing window tint. I think it's pretty simple. As you can see, we don't really have any bubbles anywhere around this thing. It was pretty clean, and yeah, the camera's picking it up. So see how it's kind of wavy? That's water that's stuck in there. So you can go ahead and keep, you know, squeezing it out. But like I said, you will never be able to get 100% of the water out. But after a few days, it'll actually evaporate out on its own. And there we go. Now that looks really nice and dark, just like I wanted it. Okay, now as you can tell, our wing window is nice and clean. And also, it's open, and that's for a reason. When it's closed, you can't really tint it from the inside because this whole edge is on the actual outside of the door. So I like opening it so that I can get to this edge and placing the actual tint. Another thing that I like doing is actually folding my mirror in. Now, how many of you knew that you can fold the mirrors on the OBS? I actually didn't, and they're kind of hard to fold in sometimes, but that might be just because they've always been in place. So what I like doing is taking a little bit of a liquid wrench or WD-40, PB Blaster, whatever you like using, to kind of lube it up a little bit and fold it out of your way just to give you a little bit more room to work with your wing window. So now we're gonna grab our piece of tint and apply it just like we did on the window. Okay, so again, get everything nice and wet. And then you're gonna take your film, slide it into place. And I mean, this is why you wanna put a lot of water so you can actually move it around. So, once you have it about where you want it, I like coming back outside and actually applying it. So again, we're gonna get this nice and wet. I like spraying the squeegee a little bit too. And same deal. From about the center, go one way, go up, go down, and then just work all that water towards your edges. And that looks pretty good. Okay guys, so we're all done with the two side windows. And I mean, from about 5 foot away, it looks great. But I mean, for $34, $35, I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, it's just a temporary thing. I'll show you this look right here. That looks really nice. I mean, the truck looks way meaner now. Way meaner. And like I said, I think this is actually something that someone... I can't talk. This is something that everybody can do. And it looks great. All you have to do is just be patient, you know. These trucks are actually... Let's see, I've tinted a Jeep Grand Cherokee that I used to have. I've tinted... Well, I tried tinting my wife's car. That didn't happen. And a couple other cars. And this has been the easiest by far. And especially using that pre-cut kit. Now, it's not 100%. There's still a couple cracks here and there. But, like I said, for $35, I'm pretty happy with it. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell. By the way, so everything's done except those two. So maybe from here you can tell, but there's some cracks on the little wing window right there, as well as right here, and basically all the way around both of these windows. But other than that, you know, they installed pretty good, other than, you know, this big issue that we had right here. And I mean, I'll leave the link down below, but like I said, it's not the greatest film, but it is only $35 for pre-cut film. So, you know, buy it at your own decision. There's also many more places on the web that you can buy pre-cut films that are of way better quality, but it will cost you. I found some that were like over $100, so I'll leave that decision up to you. But basically right now I'm super happy. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this last piece in, and I'll show you the whole finished project. Okay guys, so we are done and this thing looks amazing. I love it. So like, obviously, like I said in the video, it's not perfect, but from about this distance, can't say that looks great. I love it. And now we're gonna have some protection from the sun. The truck's gonna look great, and it's just, man, that thing's just cool. Like, it even makes the whole interior look darker, you know, so you can't really see yourself in there, you know. You can't really see you in there. And it's just, it looks great. I love it. I mean, I'm happy with it. You know, like I said, for 35 bucks, I'm happy with it. And like I said, I've paid over $100 for tint jobs that look like that and like that. So like I said, if you can pay 35 bucks and it still looks that good, I mean, you know, you can't argue with that. So I'm super happy with it. Like I said, I'm gonna leave links to everything that I used, plus tint kits that you can buy straight off of Amazon if you want to do this yourself. But yeah, like I said, that's it for this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you for the next one.